The problem of forbidden foods is built into Western storytelling, with the story of Eve and the apple. In Genesis, God places Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, where they have everything they could want to eat, but tells them they must not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or they will die. But Satan, as the serpent, tells Eve she should just go for it, and so she does.
No, I'm eating these apples. They're so delicious.
No, big man upstairs said, no, go.
Have one for yourself, friend.
What? I don't know, Eve.
What if I told you it was tasty? Oh, no.
And so, for the sin of eating the forbidden fruit, Adam and Eve were expelled from the garden and cursed to labor for their food forever. So we have this connection between food and knowledge, and we also have a strong argument for the potential power of food. As such a key element in the Christian creation story, food is made holy. Being the descendants of this generational curse to toil for food, there is an understanding that it has been demanded by God that food must be worked for. In repenting for Eve's sin in the garden, we are no longer allowed to receive food without giving something in return. The image of the forbidden fruit is so potent that we see it repeated in other fairy tales, arriving in the form of Snow White's poisoned apple, offered by a hag queen not unlike the witch of Hansel and Gretel. In European folklore traditions, the fairies often offer up a magical feast to mortals who stumble into their world. Children are warned to practice restraint, as eating fairy food could mean they become trapped in the fairy realm forever. As we will see with later representations of magical eating, food is tightly tied to its origins. In other tales, people wake up after their dealings with the fairies, only to find that the feast they thought they were enjoying was just soil and leaves, made to appear delicious by fairy glamour. In either version, the message is the same: be wary of gifts freely given, for they may not be the blessing they appear. As we can see in the architecture of the cottage itself, Gretel and Hansel does not confine itself to connecting with motifs of the ancient past. We can see clear allusions to Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, itself another story heavily reliant on the power of food, and not just as sustenance.
What did it say?
Strange as it might be, I think she said, eat me.
Food is a vessel by which one may pass from one way of being to the next. The transformational effects of magical mushrooms give these main characters new perspectives when they're in a rut, and the acceptance of food given by gatekeepers of these strange realms is necessary to uncovering deeper levels of meaning. Food is often connected to a doorway or path to the unknown. Pan's Labyrinth, another modern fairy tale, though one less connected to particular existing source material, also referenced Alice. In Pan's Labyrinth, we are once again shown the dangers of magical feasts, and not heeding the warnings to abstain. The food laid out at the table of the Pale Man is designed to be as enticing as possible, but the pleasure of eating the forbidden food can have fatal consequences. It seems that for children especially, practicing self-control in the face of such a feast is almost impossible. Children, after all, are generally not in control of the food they eat. It is given to them by adults and shared with others. So for a child, the excitement of food is all the more because of the rarity of its plentifulness. In the Harry Potter series, new students at Hogwarts are welcomed into a magical world with an appropriately magical feast, appearing before them out of thin air. This is some of the first magic they experience, and it is part of the process of their indoctrination into this alternate realm. As Harry and his friends age, however, they learn that the feasting they enjoy is the result of the labor of house elves in the Hogwarts kitchens. So while it is still kind of magic, the characters are presented with an ethical question, one that most of us will grapple with at some point. Where does my food come from? And more specifically, does the seemingly magical nature of its materialization point to potentially problematic origins? Coraline director Henry Selick describes his film as a combination of Alice in Wonderland and Hansel and Gretel. In the traditional Hansel and Gretel tale, their mother, or stepmother, is the one who calls for their abandonment and is sometimes considered to be an alter ego of the witch. When the children kill the witch threatening to eat them, they return home to find that their mother too has died. This dual nature of the mother/witch as a potential threat is tied to the dangers of good food as a lure. We are warned of the pleasures of food, this weakness we all share, and that we fear may be exploited, ultimately resulting in our demise.